Look around you right now. There is someone in your life who walks into a room and instantly commands it. No announcement. No performance. No begging. Just presence, and everyone adjusts. Meanwhile, you've been doing everything right. You've been kind. You've been agreeable. You've been helpful, flexible, and accommodating. You show up when called. You answer when texted. You bend when pushed. And yet, somehow, people still walk past you like furniture. What if I told you the problem isn't that you're doing too little? What if the problem is that you're doing too much? There is an ancient principle, buried inside the most controversial book ever written, that explains exactly why the people who chase approval end up with none. And the people who stop caring what others think? They end up with everything. That book is The Prince. The mind behind it, Niccolo Machiavelli. And today, we are going to break open his darkest, most misunderstood lesson. The difference between being liked and being respected, and why choosing the wrong one is slowly destroying your power. By the time this video ends, you will understand why people don't take you seriously, how to make them think twice before they ever cross you again, and what it truly means to carry yourself like someone who doesn't need the world's permission. Drop this in the comments right now. I am no longer asking for permission. Let me paint you a picture. You spend weeks helping a colleague with their work, staying late, sacrificing weekends, never once complaining. And when the promotion comes, they get it. Not you. A friend calls you only when they're in crisis. You show up every single time, without fail. But when you need someone, silence. You soften your words in meetings. You nod even when you disagree. You laugh at jokes that aren't funny to avoid making things uncomfortable. And everyone around you is perfectly, completely comfortable, except you. Here is the uncomfortable truth. You have been training people how to treat you. And you trained them to take you for granted. Machiavelli observed this pattern in every prince, every court, every seat of power he ever studied. The leaders who sought affection from their subjects. Who tried to make everyone happy, who lowered themselves to be adored, they were the first ones overthrown. Because people don't respect what costs them nothing. They respect what they cannot easily obtain. Think about every person in your life you truly look up to. Are they the ones who chased your validation? Or are they the ones who carried themselves like they didn't need it? It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Niccolo Machiavelli. Now, stop right there. That word, feared. I know what you're thinking. Machiavelli wasn't talking about terror. He wasn't talking about cruelty or making people shake in your presence. He was talking about consequence. When people know that crossing you carries a price, when they understand that disrespecting you isn't free, they stop doing it. Not because they're scared, but because it isn't worth it. The nicest people you know, the most agreeable, accommodating, endlessly available people. Ask yourself honestly. Do you respect them? Or do you just use them? There's a deep psychological pattern at work here. When someone is always available, their presence stops feeling like a gift. It starts feeling like a given. When someone always forgives, their forgiveness stops feeling like grace. It starts feeling like an expectation. And when someone's yes is automatic, their yes means absolutely nothing. You cannot build respect on a foundation of endless availability. You can only build it on scarcity, standards, and consequence. Drop this in the comments. My presence is a privilege, not a guarantee. So what is respect, actually? Not the polite kind. Not the smile people give you to your face while rolling their eyes the moment you turn around. I'm talking about bone-deep, instinctive, almost involuntary respect. The kind that makes people choose their words carefully when they speak to you. The kind that makes them think twice before they cancel on you or waste your time. That kind of respect isn't given. It is recognized. Here is how respect actually forms in the human mind. When you encounter someone and test their limits, even unconsciously, and they hold firm, something registers in your brain. This person has standards. This person has weight. This person cannot be moved. And something primal inside you says, treat this one differently. Conversely, when you test someone and they fold, when they absorb disrespect without reaction, when their boundary is a suggestion rather than a wall, your brain files them differently. Not as an enemy. Not even consciously. Just as someone who can be moved aside when needed. Men are so simple, and so much creatures of circumstance, that the deceiver will always find someone ready to be deceived. Niccolo Machiavelli. This is not about other people being villains. Most of them aren't. It is about human nature. We operate on patterns. We treat people according to the patterns they teach us. And you have been teaching the wrong pattern. The moment you internalize this, everything shifts. You stop asking, why don't people respect me, and start asking the right question, what have I been teaching them? Because here is what nobody tells you about respect. It is self-reinforcing. Once you command it, it multiplies. Once you lose it, it collapses. The people who command rooms, who never get interrupted, whose time is never wasted, they didn't get there by being nicer. They got there by being clearer. Clear about what they will accept. Clear about what happens when someone crosses the line. Clear about the value of their time, their energy, their attention. That clarity is what you have been missing. Drop this in the comments. I set the terms. I hold the line. I need to tell you something that is going to be uncomfortable to hear. Your need for approval is not a character flaw. It is not weakness of will. It is not something you simply chose. It is an addiction. And like all addictions, it has been engineered. Here is how it works. Someone smiles at you and tells you that you did a great job. Your brain releases a hit of dopamine, the same chemical pathway triggered by gambling, by sugar, by substances people become dependent on. You feel good. You feel safe. You feel seen. And then it fades. And you need another hit. The people in your life who understand this pattern, whether consciously or intuitively, they know exactly how to use it. They give you just enough warmth to keep you cooperative. Just enough praise to keep you working. Just enough affection to keep you available. And when they need something from you, a small compliment, a moment of approval, a pat on the back, and you bend backwards for scraps. This is not a judgment. This is how human psychology operates until you decide to rewire it. He who neglects what is done for what ought to be done sooner affects his ruin than his preservation. Niccolo Machiavelli. The approval-addicted person lives for what others think they ought to be. They wear different faces in different rooms. Different opinions at different tables. They become a mirror, reflecting back whatever the person in front of them wants to see. And in doing so, they disappear. The person who doesn't need approval? They are impossible to control. You cannot bribe them with compliments they don't crave. You cannot move them with guilt they don't carry. You cannot manipulate someone who has already decided their own worth is not negotiable. And that psychological freedom, that untouchability, is precisely what produces respect. Not because you've become cold. Not because you've stopped caring. But because the thing they were using to pull your strings no longer works. Drop this in the comments. My worth is not determined by consensus. Law 1. Let your silence speak first. Most people fill silence out of discomfort. They explain when no one asked. They justify when no one doubted. They apologize when no one complained. Every unnecessary word you speak is a withdrawal from your account of respect. The person who speaks only when it matters commands the room when they do. Because people have learned that when this person opens their mouth, it is worth stopping and listening. Stop explaining yourself to people who do not deserve the explanation. Stop defending your choices to people who would not make better ones. Stop filling every silence to make others comfortable at the cost of your own authority. Speak less. Mean more. Law TWO, never chase, let them come to you. Chasing broadcasts one message louder than anything you could say. I need you more than you need me. And once that message is received, the dynamic is set. You become the pursuer. They become the pursued. And no one respects the one doing the chasing. This applies to friendships, to professional relationships, to leadership, to love. When someone withdraws and you frantically fill the silence, you've just handed them all the power. The counterintuitive truth is this: indifference is the most magnetic force in human dynamics. When you are genuinely fine without someone's presence, when their opinion of you neither elevates nor diminishes you, people are drawn to you. They want to understand you. They want to earn you. Let them. Law 3, never react, respond. When someone insults you, belittles you, provokes you, or tries to humiliate you, your reaction in that moment determines who holds power. If you explode, you've proven they can move you. And someone who can be moved can be controlled. If you collapse, you've confirmed that their opinion defines you. They win. But if you meet aggression with stillness, if you let an insult land on you and respond with the slow, calm gaze of someone who has seen worse and cared less, you become terrifying. Not because you're unfeeling, but because you are unmovable. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Niccolo Machiavelli. This is the ultimate mask of power, not a fake face, but a composed one. A face that reveals nothing, gives nothing away, and costs your opponents everything. Law 4: be unpredictable. Never let them read you. Predictable people are manageable people. When others can map your patterns, when they know exactly how you'll react to generosity, to criticism, to being ignored, they can steer you like a vehicle. The powerful are strategically inconsistent. Sometimes generous. Sometimes reserved. Sometimes forceful. Sometimes silent. Not chaotic, calibrated. Every variation is intentional. Every change of temperature is chosen. Because when no one can fully predict you, no one can fully control you. Law 5: enforce your boundaries without announcement. The most common mistake people make with boundaries is announcing them. I need you to know that this behavior is hurtful and I won't accept it. The speech. The explanation. The lecture. What this communicates: this might happen again and I will lecture you again. Machiavelli's approach is different. No speech. No warning. No second chance for the same offense. The consequence is the communication. When someone crosses you, you withdraw, quietly, immediately, completely. No anger. No drama. No announcement. They feel the distance. They feel the shift. And they understand, without being told, that something has changed. That silence is louder than any confrontation. Law 6: use scarcity as currency. Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel. Niccolo Machiavelli. What people cannot easily access, they value. What people see constantly and always obtain without effort, they take for granted. This is not about playing games. It is about understanding supply and demand as it applies to you. When you are available to everyone at all times, when your yes costs nothing and your presence is expected, you become invisible in the most painful way. Not hated. Not challenged. Just overlooked. But when you become selective, when your yes means something because your no is real, when your presence carries weight because your absence is felt, everything recalibrates. People rise to meet the standard you set for your own company. Drop this in the comments: I am unmovable. I am the standard. When you genuinely stop needing other people's validation, not as a performance, but as a truth you live from the inside out, something irreversible happens. First, your relationships become real. Not all of them will survive. Some people only valued your company because you were easy to access and easy to please. When you develop standards, they disappear. Let them. The ones who remain, who stay because they genuinely respect who you are, not what you do for them, those are the relationships worth building a life around. Second, your confidence becomes unshakable. Not the performance of confidence, the loud voice and the forced posture you've been told to adopt. Real confidence. The quiet, immovable kind that doesn't need an audience. The kind that doesn't crumble when someone disagrees with you, criticizes you, or withdraws their approval. Because it was never built on their foundation to begin with. Third, opportunities find you instead of the reverse. When you stop chasing, when you stop bending and performing and making yourself small to fit into spaces that were never built for you, the right spaces start appearing. People begin offering instead of withholding. They seek your perspective because they know you'll give them truth, not comfort. They respect your time because they know you respect it first. Fourth, you become psychologically free. Free from the exhausting performance of being everything to everyone. Free from the constant monitoring: did I say the right thing? Did they like it? Are they upset with me? Free from bending your truth to match the room you're in. It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles. Niccolo Machiavelli. Your worth is not assigned by others. It is not voted on. It is not earned by accumulating enough approval from enough people. It is something you claim. Or you don't. Drop this in the comments: I claim my power. Starting now. Let me leave you with this. The world is overflowing with people trying to be liked. They are softening their voices, swallowing their standards, and shrinking their presence. All in the desperate hope that someone, somewhere, will finally decide they are enough. They are waiting for approval that will never fully arrive. Because no amount of external validation can fill the hole that self-abandonment creates. But you now know something different. You know that respect is not something you beg for. It is something you embody. You know that being liked and being respected are not the same thing, and choosing the wrong one costs you everything. You know the 6 laws. Silence before speech. Stillness before reaction. Selectivity before availability. Boundaries without announcement. Scarcity without cruelty. Standards without apology. The wise man does at once what the fool does finally. Niccolo Machiavelli. Don't be the person who waits until they've been walked on for 10 more years to finally decide they deserve better. Your next interaction is the beginning of the new pattern. Walk into it differently. Speak from a different place. Hold your ground from a different center. Not because you have something to prove, but because you finally understand that you have nothing to apologize for. If this video shifted something in you, if something clicked that has been confusing you for years, hit that like button. If you know someone who has been giving their power away, share this with them. It might be the most important thing they see this year. And if you are ready for more. If you want to go deeper into the psychology of power, respect, and self-mastery, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. The principles are waiting. The question is whether you are ready to live them. Drop this in the comments right now. Respect is not given. It is recognized. In a world full of people begging to be liked, be the one who simply doesn't need to be. That is your power. Claim it.